Tell you what, gang, it's an amazing thing. I don't know how you work out how time passes in your week, but I always know that if it's Thursday and it's 6 o'clock, cracker jack. No, it's Thursday and it's 6 o'clock. It has to be the ABC of CBD. This is quite extraordinarily show 67. And the weird thing is, despite all our plans, Ollie and I have never actually met, which is getting ridiculous now. I don't know how many times we've tried to meet and we never have. Anyway, without further ado, let me introduce, as I always do every week, the Count of Cannabinoids, the Maharaja of Marijuana, the hunk of hemp, Mr. Oliver Mammon.
What's up, everybody? It's my birthday tomorrow. Yeah!
Oh, is it?
So it's like a celebration tonight.
Where will we be celebrating?
Do you actually want to celebrate?
No, I just wondered where you were taking us all for, lunch and stuff.
I don't know. I've got a couple of bottles of whiskey if anyone wants to come and join me, and some edibles if anyone wants to come party. If you know where I live.
I don't know where you live. What, like Twiglets or something?
Never listen. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you. How lovely. I hope you're actually going to be doing something and not just not doing anything.
No, that's it. I've got my parents here, which is lovely. So I never get to see them. They're here. So that's quite lovely. They live abroad. So I've got
they live
time
abroad?
With them,
I thought they lived in Edgware.
No, they live abroad. So it's nice to have them in the UK. And
it is nice. How long are they in for?
2 weeks, which is lovely.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really excited.
A couple of days they'll be driving you mad.
Get to spend some. No, it's already happened. They've been in for like 24 hours.
Are they doing? Like, there you are, one of the leading lights in the entire CBD industry, and I bet they go, Ollie, you're looking a bit thin. Are you eating all right?
Are you eating? Are you taking care of yourself?
Are you taking care? I used to get it.
Calm down, Ollie. Get a lot of calm.
Oliver, calm down.
Just relax. Calm down.
Yes, it'll be.
It's just the most annoying thing in the world to hear when you're not calm.
The best advice. My dad used to give me advice. Well, never give me advice. He was a genius after the event, and he would always say, if I was really stressed, he goes, "What's the worst that's going to happen? What are they going to do? Drag you in the street and shoot you?" And I went, "No." He went, "Well, there you go. Shut up." And that was his solution to everything.
Because, that's obviously the worst case scenario is
dragging
that is the
through
worst
the streets
case scenario. If it's not that, you're completely
and
legit.
we've got our Ukrainian little heart up and it'll stay up. Let's say hello to our lovely sponsors.
I'm sure you've heard before that good quality CBD needs to be really, really expensive. This is the new view of CBD. A product created by users for users. A product at an affordable price, available everywhere, at any time, at the simple click of a button. Just CBD and MCT oil. No additives, no preservatives, and no flavor enhancers. It's a simple subscription-based service. The cleanest possible CBD delivered to your door for the lowest possible price. Your product, your rights for the lowest possible price.
I never get tired of that.
Never.
I'm telling you, I never get tired of
67
that.
times.
I hate ads. 67 times. And anyway, over to you, because we've got a terrific guest, and she's in our digital green room enjoying our digital coffee and our digital buffet, which we always lay out here at Men's Radio Station.
Hell yeah.
You do the
only the best digital food for our digital guests.
Unbelievable.
Our caterer
Danish
is
are the
the
talk
nuts
of the industry.
Our coded caterer, he's the one. I mean, you have no idea. So basically, so last week we had Callie Blackwell. We had a rerun. Okay.
Yes, we did.
Okay, which was great. But I love Callie's story, and I wanted to share that again because it fitted in with kind of the narrative of what we're going at the moment. The week before, we were joined by Ed McDonald. And Ed McDonald talks to us about the cannabis pages, this community he set up for.
That was good. I enjoyed that. That was really good.
To help patients navigate the system. The week before, 3 weeks ago, we were actually joined by Jade Proudman, who's actually our guest again today. Jade's story was incredible. If you didn't see the episode a couple of weeks ago, please go back and watch it. I've written a short introduction.
And if you want to watch it, everything that we do on Men's Radio is up on our YouTube channel. Just go there and everything you ever need. It's just men's radio station. Look it up on YouTube, and you can see every show that we've ever done. It's all there.
You can also, I think, find it on SoundCloud. I think you can also find it on the Men's Radio website.
Yes,
you can find it on my Facebook page. You can also find Jade's story on her Facebook page, also on my LinkedIn profile.
And on mine too.
That's it. It's everywhere. But I suggest you listen to Jade's story, because I'll be honest with you, me and Russ were in tears.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was absolutely wonderful, and I'm so delighted she's back. Incredible
guest. So this week, our special guest is Jade Proudman, and this is part 2 of her incredible journey. This week, we will share the story of the incredible community she's built and the wonderful difference she's made to so many other people's lives. We really focused on her life on part 1. This time, we're going to focus on what she's done for the general community. A few weeks ago, when Jade first joined us, she shared her story of pain, her journey through suffering, and her experiences of nearly reaching the end of the road. We heard how this magical plant helped her so much. It was an incredibly powerful episode. I'm going to repeat this again. If you didn't see it, please go back and watch it. Jade is a true inspiration and a true wonder to this industry. And people like her are just so important. They need all the support they can get. So please go back, watch her video, follow her, support her. She's a wonderful specimen. The issue with the show 2 weeks ago is we talked so much about Jade's life, we didn't really get a chance to talk about the community work she's done and the other people she's helped in the industry. She has 9,000 people who she helps, and we didn't get a chance to talk about that. That's the plan for today. And that's what I really want to do this week. I want to know more about Savage Cabbage. I want to know more about the people in her community.
Just love that name.
Savage Cabbage.
Love it, isn't it? Marvelous.
And why a community is so important in this industry. There are a whole bunch of questions we didn't get a chance to ask her last time. Hopefully we'll get a chance this week. A few weeks ago when Jane joined us, the story we shared was mainly focused on her life, the trauma she experienced, the fears she felt, the fact that cannabis literally saved her life. And she was, she realized that cannabis was like the only thing to ever help her. Her story is incredible, but the journey that followed is another special something. After finding her hope, her salvation through Charlotte's Web products, she decided to start helping other people. The Savage Cabbage brand and the community were born. Over the last few years, she has helped create and nurture a community with over 9,000 people, educating, guiding, and directing lost and scared souls in a way that was never available previously. Simplifying the process of finding a reliable CBD product, simplifying the process of navigating this ever-complicated world, helping people to understand the differences in what products are available on the market. For so many people, CBD is all the same, but this is so far from the truth. Not all products are made equal. Not all products will benefit all people.
Good point.
And it's very important that, people like Jade do help people navigate themselves to a product that actually works for them. Jade had to learn the hard way through trial and error, but the community she has built means that potential customers everywhere have more direction, more guidance, and more help than previous journeyers. They don't have to get lost before they are found. Like I said earlier, 2 weeks ago, we were joined by Ed McDonald, who shared his story of navigating the medical cannabis space and how difficult he first found it. Ed is similar to Jade. He set up a community page called the Cannabis Pages, enabling patients to understand the nature of certain cannabis medications, to understand what is right for them. It's a peer-to-peer system built to disseminate information to those who need it. Ed was a lost patient and didn't want others to go through the convoluted journey he experienced. Jade also created a system for a similar reason, knowing that nothing like it existed, and now she probably has one of the strongest community presences in the UK, if not the world. What I want to know actually is why she built a community, what her community has done for people so far, and what the plan is going forward. So let's bring on our guest and let's carry on.
Just before you do that, and Jade, bear with for a sec, because this is coming in from Spain. Chrissy Richards, who loves this show, and I know you've reached out to her before. She says, "Hi, boys. A friend bought a small dropper bottle of cannabis for a man who's got Parkinson's. Now, the key thing here is it helps him very much." That's just brilliant. 20 euros. Is that good? I have no idea.
If it helps him, it's fantastic, because you can't put a price on pain relief, and you can't put a price on a quality product that's actually functional for the problem at hand. Now, fact of the matter is, if it wasn't helping him, the question would be completely different. Like he bought a product for 20 quid. Is that valuable? I don't know what the product is, but as long as it's helping, as long as the product actually has the right purpose and he's getting benefits from it, 1,000,000%, it's a great product. And you shouldn't change it. I always said to everyone, don't buy my products. Buy products that actually work for you. And if my products don't work for you and another product does, don't, believe my passion. Don't fall in love with my voice. You know, like actually find the product that's right for you. I am an advocate for this entire community, whether you're using my products or someone else's. I just want you to find something that actually works for you.
Isn't it exciting? First of all, I think that's really decent of you, and you've always said that, and I've always thought that was amazing because you're not just here to plug, you know, the Tincture Club. But it's wonderful. Here's somebody with Parkinson's, which is a brutal illness, brutal. And if it's helping, it's a miracle. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jade Proudman.
Hello, darling. Hello.
Hello.
A little
How are
bit
we?
blurry today, but you're still beautiful. You're still beautiful.
Blurry's fine. I'm jet lagged.
I'm not sure you're.
Atrocious.
Are you allowed to say that anymore without
What?
ending up on the front page of the Daily Star? I don't know if you can even say that.
What? But you're still beautiful.
I don't know. Who knows?
Well, listen, if I get on the front page of the Daily Star, I'm framing that. Okay,
Yeah,
just throwing it out there because that, whatever reason,
Ollie,
I'm
be
framing
careful
that.
what you wish for, my friend. Be
Can't
careful
wait.
what you wish for.
I
And
cannot
Chrissy
wait.
Richard says, "Good to know." There we go. I hope it's helped. Right, Jade. Over to
Thank you so much for joining us, Jay. Just quickly, how was your trip to America?
It was fantastic. The jet lag has been quite atrocious, I can tell you. But it was a good trip nonetheless.
Yeah, you happy?
Yeah, very happy, very happy. It's always
Amazing,
nice to pop
amazing.
over and pop back. Yeah.
America's always a fun place to go when you're in our industry. You always go and you're like, oh my God, candy shop. Do you know what I mean? That's literally it, right? We go from a world where we're shackled to a world where no one is. And we're like, oh, wow, this is great. Especially if you go to like the Colorados or the Californias, it's like unadulterated freedom. It's incredible.
Look at this community you've created here. Veronica up in Edinburgh, Scotland says, "Jade, have you managed to get a lift to Glastonbury?"
Did you get your tickets? Did you get your tickets?
No, I'm trying to just wheedle my way in somehow. I have to be there because it's literally the place I need to be. But I haven't figured anything out yet. But if anybody wants
Jade,
to
let's
take me,
speak about
hit me up.
this. I've just got
Okay.
my ticket. I've just got my ticket. So let me speak. I've got a few people I can reach out to as well. Like let's see if we can do something. I'll try and hook you up. It'll be great. It'll be
That would be
great to chill in the
awesome.
fields with you. It'll be incredible.
that'd
We
be
can take over the
awesome,
healing
awesome.
fields. Greenpeace
Would
won't
be
know what
good.
hit them.
Actually, geez, that would be a good idea. My mind was elsewhere, but that's really good. That's a clever thought.
No, it's
So, Jade-
interesting because sorry, I was just
No,
going to
go. Carry on. I'll stop.
Being
Go, shoot.
in Colorado, it's just we're worlds apart, and it is incredibly frustrating because jet lag hits me. When you end up in Denver, you're at mile high city. Altitude really does affect me. And to be able to just go to a dispensary and say, okay, so I need to be alert, but I need to be not feeling as weird as I am feeling, and I want to be able to sleep tonight. And what can I buy that's going to help me? I feel so well when I am in Denver. And it's just so incredibly frustrating that you come back and it's like, I don't have those options available to me here. And
It sucks, doesn't it?
catch up.
It absolutely sucks.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting you say that because it is the Mile High City. And the lady who comes on to my daily show every Friday, Chantal Rickards, who was the CEO of BAFTA in Los Angeles and was going backwards and forwards. And when she went to, she was working on a project in Denver, Colorado, not that long ago. And she was saying, really, the breathing, we don't think about it. We just think it's another city, don't we?
Yeah.
tough.
And it really exacerbates my sort of fatigue, but it always sort of hits me on like day 4. And there's been times when I'm like laid on the floor like a starfish because I've got vertigo and I feel a bit weird. So popping to the dispensary is quite nice because it just helps me get through.
Let me ask you a punter's question because Ollie knows the answer. I don't know the answer. Okay, so I'm just acting as sort of everyman here. There you are, you're in Denver, Colorado, and you go into a shop. Walk me through, because I've never seen these shops, and Ollie and you know them back to front. Walk me through what happens when you walk in.
So it's
what
really
does it look like? Does it look like I'm not being silly. Does it look like a sweet shop? Does it look like a chemist? Does it look like, you know, you're going to buy an iPhone?
Well, I was just going to say, to be honest, it's like going into an Apple store.
Okay.
So the first thing that happens when you get to the door, you've got to press the buzzer. You've got to show your ID. It's very official, very professional. And then as you enter the store, you are assigned a tender who's there for your needs. And they're like, so what are your issues?
Did you say
what are you looking for?
Tender?
Like a bartender,
T-E-N-D-E-R.
Oh, bartender.
Yeah.
All right, tender. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I get it.
So
okay.
you're given a tender and they will say, well, we've got these products here, we've got this product here. What is it you're kind of looking for? And I've discovered a new product range whilst I was there, actually, and it's 1906 capsules, and they've got like for different need states. So if you want to feel like a genius, if you want to feel calm, if you want some sleep, if you want to feel creative, and I was like trying all of them. They're fantastic. I personally, and I've had this conversation with Ollie, I can't smoke cannabis because THC is not my friend. It makes me want to be sick. It's just awful. So I can only have very low amounts of THC, which is why I'm in the CBD sector, because that's what works for me. If I'm going to say smoke cannabis, I need to be 3 centimeters away from my bed because I just smoke it and then I'm out. It's just awful. If I'm in a high pain situation, that's my go-to, but it's not very often I go there. But it's a really thorough experience, and you would expect, you get all these stereotypical cartoony style, oh, there'll be some guy behind the counter that's probably stoned that just thinks you're cool and he wants you to buy this.
Makes me think
That
of
is not the
Camden
case.
Town in the 1970s. That's my horrible image of it all. Ghastly.
It's so far away from
Wearing
that, though,
loom
Russ.
pants and a
Russ,
tank top.
Russ, think about the Ivy, okay? Think about the Ivy restaurant and the service you get at the Ivy, but imagine, as opposed to selling you the highest quality of food in imagine the sommelier at the Ivy, and he comes up to you and he's like, okay, so we have 75,000 bottles of wine, okay? What sort of flavor are you into today? Are you looking for something more aromatic? Would you let me take you on a sensory journey? Let me find out about
I'm up for this.
Do you know what I mean? And they actually create relationships. And this is the best thing, because Ed would mention this when Ed was on the show in early January. Ed mentioned this, like my colleague, and he said the same thing. He was like, you go into these shops, and the nurture and the education and the dissemination of information, which is just unheard of. They know everything about everything which they stock, and they also know exactly how individuals react with it. So you have almost this underlying information which a community in the UK would have, but it's actually held by these bud tenders. It's held by the stores. Why? Because they've dealt with thousands of people. So you know that you've dealt with 1,000 people. When someone starts speaking about their experiences, it's not hard to match one with the other. You know what? I had a patient 16 months ago who had similar issues to you. She tried this and this and this, and actually it worked. Okay. So at least I can make a recommendation based on something which is a bit tangible. Whereas in the UK, one of the biggest issues, like it was mentioned a couple of weeks ago by Ed, you go to the doctor, they don't even give you advice. They're like, what cannabis would you like? It's very, very limiting. You're alone. You're helpless to a system which is not designed to help you. Whereas in America, the capitalism, the commercialism around cannabis, especially in the states which have embraced it, enable people to have this experience which is, uncomparable anywhere else in the world. Also, one more thing, like Ed mentioned on the show, in the UK, they're not even allowed to talk about what a strain does. So even if a doctor knew that a patient has an incredible reaction from a product, they can't turn around and say it. It'll be like me going to the doctor with my bipolar and them saying, look, we got lithium, we got codeine, we got some like oxy. All right. What do you want? What do you want? Cheeky, I'll sort it out. And I'm sitting there like, all right, look, mate, I've got mental health issues. I have a problem. I need you to help me with it. If you can't guide me, what am I doing here? And so I'm really glad you brought that up, Jade.
Yeah, it's a very interesting
point.
I
think one thing to mention, I mean, I have experience going through getting a medical cannabis prescription here in the UK, and the options that were available to me, I chose 2 different strains of plants. So I had Super Lemon Haze because it was lighter. It was a sativa. It was meant to be more sort of help me function throughout the day. It didn't. And then the other one was Great White Shark, which it really did knock me out and helped me sleep. But the important thing is,
I think the clue might have been the name, Jade. To be honest with you, there, I'd be like, I'd be like a little bit concerned. Maybe. What's this called? Great White Shark. Okay.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. But the Super Lemon Haze actually irritated my my clonus. So I found myself in a situation where my myoclonic jerks / epilepsy was being aggravated by that particular strain. So I contacted friends in the US and I was like, can you talk me through this? Have I picked the wrong thing? And yes, I had. So it's unfortunate, and we've got a long way to go in this country to get something that replicates what we're able
Jade,
to access.
I'd like
in the
to
US.
ask you a question, Jade, and I'd like Ollie to answer as well. You've just
Okay.
touched on something there. You took something and it aggravated your condition, if I'm summing
Yeah.
it up as neatly as
Yeah.
I can. Is that
Yeah.
the sort of information that if you were to be to put propaganda out against all of this, they would say, ill woman made, I don't know, I'm making it up like it's a tabloid, but
You make, yeah.
desperately ill woman made even worse by thoughtless.
Uneducated cannabis supply
Yes,
system, which is dangerous to the UK
what I'm-
population.
what- yes,
You're going to end
yeah.
up being worse. You're going to end up dying. Stick
Yeah.
with the Oxycontin, which you
That's what I'm
don't get a
saying. You
choice
see,
of.
this is what I'm saying. Is that the sort of rather than, which fascinates me, rather than the community then saying, right, okay, that didn't agree with you, so why don't we try X, Y, and Z, which probably will agree with you.
I think
I
there's
find it
distinct,
extraordinary.
there's a distinct problem there, and I think that those kinds of scenarios could be helpful to somebody who was against the cause, because you're then saying, well, this person's tried cannabis, and cannabis is lumped into this one box. And I mean, Ollie, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's something like 4,000 different strains with different terpenes, flavonoids, and how it's made up. So it's like there's a big,
if not more, in today's
bucket.
world. You know what I mean? If not
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Now,
There's
isn't
a big
this
bucket of
interesting?
things to try.
This is David Green. Hello, David. My GP was massively supportive in finding a suitable strain for my mental illness, even though she couldn't prescribe it.
So
how
David's
does that
lucky.
then?
David's lucky that
guys, how
David's
does that work? What would happen? Yeah.
David's lucky that he's had someone who's willing to educate him and willing to find the answer to his problem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most doctors who are actually prescribing are not allowed to do that. So it's quite interesting. If you're not prescribing as a doctor, you're allowed to encourage your patient to go and use a product. But if you are prescribing, you're not allowed to do it. And there's this catch-22 situation. And that's why communities like the cannabis pages, communities like Jade's community are so important, because the doctors don't disseminate this information. I also spoke to Edward Granger last week. We spent the evening together and I had a little conversation with him. You remember Edward Granger, Russ, the epileptic dude who had half his brain removed and he had a nightmare of his thing. He's a medical cannabis patient.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Anyway,
hard to
so
forget
Ed
someone's
said
had
to
half
me,
their brain removed, isn't it?
Yeah, but basically Ed said to me that, he's still in this trial and error situation where if he doesn't get the information from his doctor, and the only way he found the right strain was through the cannabis pages, because he went up there, he saw what other epileptics were using, and he was like, okay, cool, this is what I'm going to go for. Now, the worst thing is strains, Russ, 1 second. The worst thing is strains are always changing. So what happens is they're not always in stock. So let's say you find something that a farm's supplying that actually does work. The chances of you getting it again is also very slim. So it's this constant game. It's this constant game. There's no foundation. There's no community. There's no help. There's no information. There's no education. And one more thing, like Ed said, the information should be going from patients to doctors to a central system and then going back to doctors and back to patients. There should be this dissemination up and down, and it's not happening. And that's why people like Jade are so important, because they're maintaining these communities where patients can actually communicate. They're maintaining a place which is actually, we went on different journeys. I had a problem. I fixed it. I thought I'm going to go and start making products. Jade had a problem. She fixed it and she thought I need to build a community so people aren't lost anymore. Okay. But what she's done is so important, and really not that many people have done it. There's a couple of Facebook groups out there that you can't really trust. There's a couple of random people who have organizations, but a lot of them, they're a bit closed. So if you're a stranger and you reach out to them, they won't do it. You have a lot of people who are experts. Okay. Now these experts won't respond to emails from anyone. So I do it as well. People send me messages all the time. And I'm like, I can't respond to this. You're asking me exactly what I should do. I can't do that. I'm going to get myself into trouble. If I write an email back to you saying you need this, 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 and this, I'm going to jail. So
do you not reply in any way?
No, I sometimes reply, and what I'll do is I'll see what research have you done. What do you think you need? Do you want to go down the illegal route or the legal route? If they say the legal route, I can then play with them. If they say the illegal route, I'm like, look, I can't freaking help you, And that everyone always wants to start illegal then before illegal. Why? Because illegal costs you 50 quid and legal costs you £5,000. So it's just everyone wants to dip their toe in the water, but we don't live in a society that enables that. And if it was enabled, it wouldn't be through a functional, educated path. It would be through, you know, a dude on the street who just wants to take advantage of the capitalistic angle. And communities are so important. Why? Because they help patients talk to other patients. And patient reviews of products are completely legal. Right?
No, they're not.
They're not.
They can't.
Wow.
No.
I would have thought
No.
not.
Mental.
So say, for instance, you give a product to a person who has insert medical condition, and then they want to leave a glowing review because they've had a fantastic experience. If you were to endorse that, so if you were to share that on Ollie Mammon, for example, then you're putting yourself at risk because you're endorsing that, and you've got an issue then with the MHRA because you're endorsing a medical claim. And it's really difficult to navigate this. And this is why, like, the brothers did a video, which you can find on YouTube, and it's called Muzzled. And it basically talks about, you know, we've got this beautiful product that helps so many people, and we can't tell you why. You know, we can't talk to you about Charlotte and what she needed it for because we're muzzled and, you know, we're quieting down and we can't do that. So then that was the frustrations with me. It was like, how do I help reach people? And I took my example of, you know, I was ready to step off this mortal coil. And I'm sure there's many other people out there that are equally as frustrated with life and feel like throwing in the towel. And how many people can I reach? How many people can I impact by saying, try this? And I can't tell you why, but just try it and see how you feel. And that's how it began with, it was never a business to me at the beginning. It was like, Savage Cabbage is a community. I want people to join me on this journey. I want them to learn about this because I'm learning. So let's learn together. I come from a background of social pedagogy. So group learning is something that I'm comfortable in. And, you know, let's just see what we can find out. And it snowballed from there. You know, there's some beautiful people that we can signpost to. You know, I can't have, like you've said, Ollie, we can't have those conversations when, and believe me, I get hundreds of emails. So-and-so's been diagnosed with cancer. How can I help this person? I can't tell you that because we're not making medical claims. But what I can tell you is that we're biochemically engineered to accept cannabinoids in our bodies because we have receptors for it. So then they go on their own learning journey with support. So I often signpost people to the realm of caring in Colorado because they work with Johns Hopkins University. They work with all the established, you know, research outlets. They do a lot of work and they've got a free customer care line. And I just sort of like post people over that way and ask them to get some advice and guidance from there. And then 9 times out of 10, these people will come back to me and say, I've got some information. Can you help me find a quality product? So they go to my website and then they check in with me regularly. And in the early days, I had a little shop in Pickering, North Yorkshire, where I lived. And the first thing we bought for the shop was not shelves and products. It was a huge sofa from IKEA. It was a 10-seater sofa, a kettle, some cups, and some Yorkshire tea. And we would invite people to come and meet us and come and sit on the sofa and ask questions. And we became
real
quite
tea,
well
Ross,
known
not
for
digital
people.
tea. Real tea.
Not digital
Not
tea.
none of that
proper
digital
tea.
stuff, and not a digital couch, and not a digital shop. A
Well, like
real
real?
place.
No.
Well, I'm going to have to look that
Yeah.
up. I'm not sure what that means.
Crazy world.
Real
Not
tea.
ones and zeros.
Ooh.
We used to have people traveling from all over the country and also flying in from Europe and Ireland to come and sit with us and ask questions. And to me, that was the biggest sense of joy, was to just sit and introduce people to CBD products, whole plant CBD products. But equally, I spent most of my time saying, no, you're not going to get high. And you are,
You're not going to break the law.
you're
You're not going to be a criminal.
Exactly. You're not going to break the law.
And also, one more thing, I'm not a criminal. So it's very important that you're not going to be a criminal and I'm not a drug dealer. Okay, so that's also very important. You guys get this. You can't save me as my phone as Jade drug dealer. You can't do that. I'm not Ollie cannabis supplier. Okay, like it's just, so that's another thing, because it goes on the other side as well. It's fear both ways. It's fear for themselves, but also fear of you, because they're like, what's this person trying to sell me? You have that as well, right?
Well, funny story, really. I mean, when we first started this, and I was all over it like a rash, and the children were quite young. And I think one of the children had said to their teacher, what do your parents do? And the youngest said, oh, my mum sells cannabis. And I was like, oh my God. So, we ended up getting a phone call from school. I was like, it's not cannabis, it's hemp. It's quite legal, it's fine. But educating people in any aspect as we went along, really. But quite funny all the same.
I've got something quite similar. So I've got my my little cousin goes to the same secondary school that I went to. And 16 years is not that long. There are still some of the same teachers.
No.
The 35-year-olds are still 40. They're 50 now, so they're still there. And who drops? My cousin's got a cannabis company. He's a legal drug dealer. And it's just like, all right. And then you hear from other kids' parents. Are you Ollie Mammon? I was like, yeah. It's like, you're the drug dealer. I'm like, no, I'm not the fucking drug dealer. Okay, like, come on. But it happens. That's one of the, you call it the banners which is attached to this industry. You pair yourself up with cannabis. You stand alongside of it. You're judged the way people judged in the past, and it's one of the things I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned it last week. You came from before your ordeal, or like before it all kind of turned, you were a social care worker. That's what you did. You were a social worker.
Yeah.
And a lot of the energy which you've invested into other people, it hasn't been at a cost. It's just been your time, your energy. And, you've really given 110% of, everything that you have left. You've given it to these people. There are so many other people who have also found the benefits of cannabis who haven't gone down the community route. Why do you reckon you went down the community route as opposed to going down the entrepreneurial route or the capitalistic route? Because, I'm saying this from my perspective, don't get me wrong, I love helping people. I love creating products with a purpose. But I went down the route of trying to develop products which people can buy that actually work for them. You went down the route of creating a place where people felt comfortable, where lost souls can get found. What made you do that? Because there are other Jades out there who have kind of found their cure with cannabis, but they haven't done what you've done. And if they have done what you've done, they haven't invested themselves fully into it the way you have. So why did you decide to do it? As in, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because what you built is incredible.
I think there's a couple of answers to it, I guess. I mean, I come from the social care background. It was my natural environment. It was where I was most comfortable. I love talking to people, and anybody that knows me, and I can talk the legs off a donkey. I never stop. But I love conversation. I love communicating with people, and I just really sort of, back then in 2016, Ollie, we were still in the days of nobody had even heard of this, and it was like, well, what is it? Is it illegal? Is it cannabis? And it was like, it's like, well, no, it's not this, and it snowballed into, okay, how do I best communicate this in a simplistic fashion for them to understand and not feel daunted or overwhelmed by the information that I'm sharing? But equally, I mean, one thing I would come back to is, when I sent my emergency tweet to Joel Stanley, he answered that. He didn't have to, but he did. And kindness is contagious, and we pay it forward because, like we discussed in my previous conversation, there's been moments in my life that have been very tough. And just when you want to just give in, somebody will turn around and go, okay, what do we need to talk about? How can I help you? And I thought, if I can be that person to somebody else, then that's paying it forward. And then that person might help somebody else. And that's how my community's grown. We've never paid for marketing or advertising. It's all been word of mouth. And that's, fallen into the laps of 9,000 people currently. And I think that's quite an achievement.
You've done so well. It's incredible. You've taken this, this past strength of yours as a social worker, and you've not let your struggle hold you back. And you've basically thrown yourself into helping others, and it's just incredible. Like, tell us a bit, if you can, tell us a bit about some of the people you've helped. Tell us a couple of these 9,000 stories. Do you know what I mean? Because what I want our listeners to know that you've got this. this incredibly rare journey, all right? But there are a lot of people with more simple journeys who might not think that cannabis could work for them, because sometimes it's, maybe it's not a simple fix. Maybe it only works for the worst people. Do you know, maybe that could be going through their mind. And it's important it's important for the listeners and the audience out there to know exactly who Savage Cabbage helps, what type of elements the people who are part of that community possess, because it's probably a hell of a lot more broad than the average individual thinks. And it's important for people to know full well that even if you have a minor issue like a rash, CBD might be the beneficial thing for you. Do you know what I mean? It might be. Yeah. Sorry, carry on. Do your thing. Tell us.
No,
share the
it's
stories.
fine. So it goes across the board, really. So, there's extreme examples. So one, which is lovely, is we were contacted by an elderly lady who said, I'm ringing you because my grandson has said I need to try something that you sell that might make my knees feel better. I was like, okay. So we had a little conversation and we talked about how, finding your sweet spot is a bit of a journey. You start slow and steady and you build it up and just see how you feel. And I think about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call and she was like, I feel fantastic. And I cleaned out my garage and I've done all my laundry and I've got a smile on my face and I've told all my friends. And following on from that, we had about 12 of her friends, that she'd met at bingo or something like that. And they'd all been talking about it. And then, so we had this army of elderly ladies that were just loving the fact that they didn't feel the general aches and pains that they were starting to feel, and they felt like a bit more of a spice for life, that sort of
a bit more joie de vivre.
Yeah. And then the other examples, and it's something that I deal with a lot, and it's incredibly challenging. But we get phone calls from people, and the one example, which it was heartbreaking, really. There was a young boy of I think 8, and he had terminal cancer, and this family had been duped by a cannabis salesperson. Had bought something that they didn't know what they'd bought. They were then frightened because they were, fearful of social services getting involved. I couldn't help them. I couldn't say anything to them. But what I did do was give them my ear and sit on the phone with them for about an hour and let them cry and just be that ear to let them just get that out and just be that sort of support system, because they didn't know who else to turn to and were carrying shame. And it was a real conflict for me, because it was like, I wish I could help you, but this country is just not fit for purpose for your needs right now, and I'm so sorry about that. And it's a really tricky one. And then equally, we get phone calls from people who are trying to access cannabis prescriptions for epilepsy. That's not my bag. I'm not a medical cannabis expert by any stretch of the imagination. So I refer those people on to MedCan Support, which is Hannah Deacon, Matt Hughes, Kelly Seaman. And we've built this network. We're a community in this country, Ollie. And, we know who we can signpost people to and how to support. But, I was a bit controversial, I guess, in the sense of there was a festival that would happen in Godalming each summer, and it was called the True Fields Festival. And it was set up by a young lady by the name of Sophie True, that was a cancer survivor. And she brought in holistic wellness practitioners from all over the place. And we would convene for this weekend in the summer. And what I would do is I would take my pop-up shops and we'd have like a little display of, what we could offer. But the most important thing was, remember the couch in the shop, I bought an inflatable seating area, so we could have an ambient lounge and we'd have some music playing, and we would just get people to come and sit with us and let's just talk. And on one of those years, I brought the Stanley Brothers with me. And,
amazing.
The tent was rammed. It was fantastic. And it was about community. It was about love and about caring for one another and making connections. And to this day, a lot of those people that I met at those festivals, I speak with on a regular basis, because they're like, right, Jade, what can we do now? Who do I need to speak to? What about this? Where else can we be? So I always incorporate that kind of element to sort of even trade shows, which drive me up the wall. But I quite like to have my seating area, and I'm like, come and have a sit down. Let's have a brew. Let's have a chat. Let's see where things are. And it's just, I guess, just trying to be, or not trying to be, but being a people person and just making those human connections, because you know, you could have one conversation with somebody, you don't know what's going on in their life, and you may just say one thing that sparks and they go, they give a shit, they care. Sorry,
It's fine.
you know.
Don't worry. Absolutely fine.
What's getting me here is there's one thing which you can give away which you can never get back. Okay, and that's time. It's the only thing you can give someone, and a kidney. All right, but the only thing you can give someone and never get back: time and a kidney. Now, I'm not saying Jade's going to give everyone her kidney, but she's given everyone her time, and is given out of this place of just wanting to nurture, just wanting to help, just wanting to guide, and just wanting to not be in the same position she was in where she was lost. And it's pretty beautiful. I'm just throwing out that it really is beautiful. And you know,
it's not just beautiful, but of course it's rare.
So rare.
It's rare,
especially in our community as well. No one's got time for anyone.
Being altruistic is something that's really has gone out of fashion. People don't care. You know, we had to survive, and it's all because society is all me. Look at me, aren't I fabulous? Look at me. TikTok. Oh, aren't I great? Well, I'm going to take another selfie. It's all this garbage. It's just rubbish.
But people never forget how you make them feel. They never forget how you make them feel. And, you know, being at that True Fields Festival, well, the thing is, the True Fields Festival was different because it was, you know, 98% of those people there had cancer. And some of those people, it was the exactly. It was designed for people and their families. And, you know, some of those people, it was the last weekend on earth. And to be part of that weekend, that's a gift to me. That's a complete treasure for me. And it's like, well, thank you for spending that time with me.
It's almost like palliative care, isn't it? Am I right?
I think it's very close to that. That's what
I'm just making sure I've got using the right term.
I was listening to this and mulling it all over. You see, this is a kind of parallel, what I'm going to say, but it's not exact, Jade. But you'll see where I'm going.
Okay.
If you're very ill with cancer and you're in a hospital, and the hospital care is wonderful, understand that, but their job is to prolong your life. That's what they've sworn to do. If you're in a hospice, they want to make your passing as easy and as painless as possible. They are worlds apart. Both institutions are being staffed by very caring people, very caring. But like this extraordinary sort of pantomime that goes on. Yes, I know what you need. I'm not allowed to tell you, which is just nonsense. It's the same with palliative care and with hospital care. And I know where I'd rather be, because, you know, when your time's up, that's it. Let's just try and make it as easy as possible. And believe me, I have had, unfortunately, experience of both. So there is a parallel here. So I think Ollie's point is well made.
Yeah. I think, I mean, we just treat everybody the same, you know, whatever issues you feel that you have. And even people who are looking for, you know, pre-workout, post-workout, they're into fitness, they do, I don't know, martial arts, and they've got aches and pains afterwards and things like that. They just want to feel great. And one of the key messages that we kind of just say to everybody is that this is designed, you know, your body's got receptors for it. Try it. You know, give yourself 21 days consistently of using these products, see how you feel. But then we encourage and invite them to come back to us and say, let us know how you get on, because we'd love to hear from you, and let's strike up a conversation. Welcome to our community. And anybody on the planet can give us a call. Anybody could speak to me and the team, and we would treat everybody just the same. And if we can't help, we will find the people that can help and do our very best to ensure that they've got the support network they need to at least feel that they've made some successes in trying to find answers to their own questions.
And as Veronica says up in Edinburgh, we need to share as much as possible. Giving someone the right route leads to better understanding.
And there's no one else doing it except people in this community. You know, like there's only the information in this community, the education, the hidden knowledge, as we discussed with Callie Seaman 25 weeks ago, 35 weeks ago. This idea that, you know, these life experiences which are based on something, which are not allowed to be shared, which don't get told, these stories which are lost behind the facts, okay, behind these metaphorical
Mhm.
facts which don't actually exist, the truth behind them never gets out. And what happens is we're in a world where no one's holding this information except for people like Jade in the communities they've got, like people like me. It's like, and it doesn't help the patients. It doesn't help people out there. Like we've tried, there are different methods of trying to educate people. And the thing is, it's all very complicated. The fact that cannabis is one word, but actually it's 4,000 plus things, it makes people freak out. That when you take those 4,000 plus things and you start looking inside of them, you see another 150 things per thing. You're like, all right, cool. You've got like 450,000 different things in order to kind of remember. It's too much information.
What
now,
would you, Jade, let me ask Jade a question here. And
Okay.
because this comes up very, very often on ABC of CBD, is this, that cannabis gets lumped in, no pun intended, into one thing. And as Ollie has educated me, because I knew the square root of sod all about any of this, I'm perfectly upfront with you. I've always said that. I don't know. I'm just every man, I'm just every man here.
He's very honest, our Russ. Honesty is the best policy.
It is, well, absolutely. And so it's like 4,000 different things. What could you equate it? The nearest I could come was somebody saying, and this sounds dumb, but bear with me. I don't like whiskey. Well, there are thousands of different. They're all different. There's no such thing as just one thing. They all taste different. They are different. What would you equate it to? I can't think what else. I'm trying to think what else you could equate this to.
Well, I suppose if you're going down
numbered.
if you go down the beverage channel, I guess, if we look at, I am a staunch Yorkshire tea drinker and I don't drink PG.
You're
tips.
Sean Bean. That's who you are. You are the Sean Bean of ABC.
I also only drink Yorkshire tea, by the way. PG Tips tastes like metal and Tetley's is for...
Now, is it... I'm so sorry. I know it's
Tetley's.
got nothing to do with the show, right? I keep thinking it's me and I've got some horrible, God knows what. It tastes metal to me as well.
No. PG Tips and Tetley's are not tea, okay? They are not tea. They are something else, all right? It's a trick. It's a trick. Only Yorkshire tea.
I hate to say this.
Cornish
they're not sponsoring the show, but they're very good. I like Yorkshire tea. It tastes like a proper brew.
Well, Yorkshire tea is my favourite. I mean, I travel to the States with a box every time I go and I get everybody drinking it. But I think that's what I would probably compare it to. Tea's a word, but how many brands of tea are there out there and how many differentiators of tea are there? I mean, that kind of encapsulates it, I guess.
So I went to a tea shop in Covent Garden last week, which has something like 3,000 different types of tea. I mean, they had like 196 types of green tea and 196 types of matcha. And I'm sitting there like, well, they're pretty similar in themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Just give me some tea.
Mental.
Well, give me something that tastes like tea, could you? Yeah, that would be me, because what are you going to? It's like Encyclopedia Britain. Well, you wouldn't know, you're both too young, but Encyclopedia was in 26 volumes. Each one gives you a hernia picking it up. So that must have been the menu. The menu must have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
So go on, let's carry on. So working with Charlotte's Web, your affinity to them as a brand, you're now a global brand ambassador for them. Also, Jade just got nominated as like top 40 women in the global cannabis industry, which is also pretty awesome.
I saw that. You sent that as a note to me. Fantastic.
I mean, I personally think she's way above the top 40, but I mean, that's just that's just me. But like working with Charlotte's Web, and also Callie Seaman's on there. So for Callie as well, because we all love Callie. We
Callie's
literally,
wonderful.
everyone on this screen loves Callie. So salute to you as well. Got to love the doc.
Yeah.
So working with Charlotte's Web, your affinity to them as a brand, now being their global brand ambassador, and you built a really good relationship with Paige as well, Charlotte's mum.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you reckon that also, that's shaped your view of the industry? Do you reckon that's also shaped your journey? Do you like the seeing how much it could help others as well, and just almost being in contact with almost the start of this entire wave, do you reckon that changed, it almost took away your commercialism and almost it made you see this straight away as a life-changing compounder life?
Interestingly, I never saw this as a commercial opportunity. I am the accidental entrepreneur, never been in business. It happened and I was like, oh, I fly by the seat of my pants with that, because I didn't really know what was happening. But I think as I got to know the brothers better and know Charlotte's Web better, and there's a member of staff at Charlotte's Web called Matt Story who basically sort of helped me from the beginning, really, and sort of encouraged me to, why don't you read this? Why don't you look at that? Here's a cool article. And then when I found out, I went to an expo in Los Angeles where Charlotte's Web were doing a bit of an event at the same time. And it's the first time that I was sat in an audience with all of the brothers and Paige. And she told her story. And I'd heard her story. I've seen it on the television. But to be sat in a room with her, listening to her tell it from her own mouth, it was just so empowering. It was so overwhelming, and it just put shivers up my spine, because we've discussed this before, Ollie, but she didn't need to do that. She could have just helped her daughter, minded her own business, and
the same with you,
enjoyed.
Jade, you could have saved your life. No, but
you're
seriously,
describing
it's the same
yourself,
thing.
Jade. Jade,
but
you're
that's it.
describing yourself here.
No, but you understand, it's the same thing. You could have saved your own life, saved your own ass, and then moved on and thought, you know what? Screw everyone else. I don't need this. I'm good now. Let's go and live. You already lost so many years. You already lost so much. You had, so much of your life removed from you. So the rest of your life you're giving to other people.
But you know what, Ollie?
It's crazy. You literally are Mother Teresa. Do you know what I mean? It's
rather nice of Mother Teresa. Anyway,
fine. Do you understand what I mean? It's fine.
No, but do you know that when you've had...
Is Mother Teresa bad? Have I missed something?
No, I'm absolutely not walking into that minefield. Thank you very much. When you've had
Diana,
something really...
you're Diana. There we go.
Stop, just
Princess.
Stop. Just stop.
Princess Di. She's legit.
We loved her. Yes, she was great.
No, we love Diana. There we go.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on. When you've had something really terrible happen, right? Really, as it has to you, you come at a crossroads. And I don't mean Noel Gordon. You come at a crossroads and you can say, right, I can either just carry on as I was, or you can make your life in your mind and to other people worthwhile. Actually worthwhile. And it sometimes takes something absolutely horrendous to make you recalibrate what's important and what's not important. What is just peripheral nonsense, which is just chitter chatter, which is just rubbish, basically, which is probably 90% of life, and the stuff that is important. And it makes life better. It makes life worth living. There you were, ready to throw in the towel. Look at you now. So it's not just a triumph of you. It's a triumph of human nature, of the strength that people can have and show. And that's why it's such a fascinating story.
Also, one more
thing
I
as well.
want to add to that.
Sorry.
Because add to that quickly. It's a compliment. It's a compliment. In this world, you have givers and you have takers. And most of the time, when people have had so much taken from them, they turn into takers, because that's what happens. It's like, your bucket's empty and you want to fill up your bucket. When people get so much taken from them and then all they decide to do is give, I mean, there's something very special about that. And I agree with everything that's just been said by Veronica. Again, people like Jade, Hannah,
I'll just read it
both
out
the Callies.
Yes, sorry. It says again, people like Jade, Hannah, both the Callies. You just needed to share because you experienced what is possible. What is possible, and that's the human spirit.
Yeah, and I think
the other thing I was going to say to you, Jade, can I just ask you this? Because this
Stop
fascinates
interrupting
me.
her.
I always go, no, because she's a fascinating guest, and I want to try and maximize while she gives us her valuable time. I always say, you want to know the answer to something, follow the money, and sadly that's true in most things. And it really occurred to me when people say, "Oh, big pharma are stopping big pharma." What you're doing and the whole of the cannabis industry, and that's what they've got in Colorado, for example, in Denver, could sit perfectly well side by side with conventional medicine. No one is saying, you and Ollie have never said, and I want to stress this if you've never watched the show before, I want to stress this. You've never said, oh, conventional medicine is terrible, you've got to listen to us.
She's so pro it. She's so pro. Her exact words were,
never
that
been the
saves her
case.
life, isn't it?
And so these could sit so neatly alongside giving people what they deserve, which is a choice.
A choice and informed decision. Yeah, and I think just going back to your previous point, and I really do believe that, kindness is contagious. And we live in a very unusual world, and we've gone through 2 years of COVID, which, if we think back to the first lockdown when we had this camaraderie spirit of we're all in this together, and that soon stopped. And then it was like, what about me and all the rest of it? And I just think that we can influence change, and communities are a significant part of that. And the key to a successful revolution is by having a community that stands shoulder to shoulder, and we're all aligned. And that's absolutely what I believe in. And if
true.
I can do something to effect positive change to just one person, then I've done a good job today, you know. And if we can band together and we can unite and say that exactly that we could sit side by side in the cannabis industry with pharmaceuticals, and I think people should have freedom of choice. You know, but that message will only be heard the louder it gets, and it'll only get louder if the community grows. So that's why I'm committed to helping people understand, you know, the differences of the plant and the impact positively that it can have on them and their families. And I think that's, well, I'll step off my soapbox, but that's kind of what motivates me.
Isn't it fascinating that you can galvanize people to join, but how quickly, like with the pandemic, 1 minute we've got our pots and pans, we're standing on our doorsteps going, yay, the next minute I'm wearing a mask, well, I'm not wearing a mask, oh, I'm going there, I'm not going. I mean, it just went bonkers, just went bonkers. I mean, the nearest thing, and we decided to put up this little Ukrainian heart, because I think everybody who's got a heart or a conscience thinks, well, this is just shocking. So this is about the second time I can think of where people have all got, you know, that'll last about 5 minutes.
And just to prove a fact, we've put it over the QR code, which means it's not about the money. It's about the heart. It's what it's all about.
Phil Dave. I've got to blame
We've
Phil
just taken
Dave
away
for that.
the entire commercial aspect of this show.
Oh, I can remove it if you want.
No, it's fine. Leave it on there. I like it. Last question, Jade, because we've got 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we built this beautiful patient-run system, which is so important. And the people, as you've just said, have just benefited nonstop. And it's incredible you've done that. What's the plan now? And what can we be expecting from you and Savage Cabbage?
Oh, well, the first thing is my earphones are going wonky, so you might lose me. Hang on. But I think the plan continues, but we just have to do it louder and prouder. And I've got more ammunition now. I've got more resources around me now. And there's a lot of things I can't discuss, but I would recommend that people keep closely their eyes on Savage Cabbage and Charlotte's Web, and, you know, next steps and how, basically.
Also, she's my competitor. She's mental. Actually, remember, this is what community is all about. It's not about the product. It's about the person at the end of it. And it's about this patient-run system. Huh? Well, theoretically, she doesn't sell my product. She sells someone else's.
Get rid of
She's
her.
theoretically my competitor.
She's gone. Bye then. See you.
It's not really much of a competition, is it?
I'm
Look
not
at her
having
community.
What?
She's gone.
Yeah, no, put her back.
I thought I offended you. I was like, oh my God,
no,
what did I say? I did so well. I did so well.
Tight ship. I run a very tight ship, Ollie Mammon.
No, but I'm saying, like,
if my pal's not being supported, if this woman,
it's not about that. It's about the people, and it's about the products. In fact, I wouldn't be here if CBD didn't help me so much. If I didn't have the personal relief and the personal benefits from cannabis-based products, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be manufacturing them. But it's not about the products I make. It's about the products you take, and it's not about it's not about the work I do. It's about what works for you. I am poetrying the hell out of this right now. This is great. My rhymes are on form.
You're like the Philip Larkin of the cannabis world.
I do think, though, Ollie, I mean, and we both know this, that not all CBD is created equally, and we all use different strains, and we've all got different strains of hemp, and they're all manufactured differently. And I think that just, you know, choice is important. There's got to be a diversity of products available on the market that's fairly regulated to enable us to have freedom of choice to try certain different things. You know, circulating your products, you know, you can get strain resistancy with CBD. It's always good to have a backup of, well, I know when that one stops being effective, I can jump to the next, etc., etc. So that's another conversation to have. But yes, we're friends, we're healthy competitors, because we just.
No, but it's what this community is all about. It's about us all working together for the people at the end. In fact, the matter is, like I've said over and over and over again, if Jade's products are what work for you, that's what I want you using. And I'm pretty sure if my products are what worked for you, Jade wouldn't want you swapping them either. Why? Because it's not about that.
I've got to say to you both, I've never known, and this has always staggered me, even across the 67 shows that Ollie and I have done, I've never known an industry like this.
We're special.
No, it's unusual.
No, never known. It's like, fine, if you want to buy from somebody, that's great by me.
I think that's just the right people in the industry. It's people who are here for the right reasons, understand this whole idea of products with a purpose. Yeah, so that's it. It's not the industry. It's some of the individuals within it. And fact of the matter is when you have a shining light, if you can't see it, then you're blind. In fact, the matter is Jade is a shining light. And I know she's a beacon for so many people out there. I know that she is this pillar which they head to when they have got nowhere to go. And in fact, the matter is, if we can't look at her and salute her and thank her for helping other people in our industry, then there's no industry. Because without the patients, without the end consumers, without the users, there's nobody. And in fact, the matter is Jade making people happy is only doing good things for the CBD industry. Jade making people feel alive is only making the industry of cannabis more alive. And it's so important we all lift each other.
I got 20 seconds. Helping people feel better is why I'm in the business, says Anna. All health, no highs. So many reasons and stories I get to hear from various clients on the results they get with CBD. Right. Yeah. Anyway, that is it.
Incredible.
That is that for this week. I don't know where the hell the time's gone. Jade, an absolute pleasure to see you again. Thank you so much for finding time in your schedule. Ollie, always lovely to see you. We will be back, God willing. Every time I say that, it's always for different reasons. Now the real reason. God willing, when we're not all, return to the planet of the apes. You did it. They damn well did it. We'll be back next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Until then, you take care and try and stay out of trouble.
Thank you.